Let's call the order of the regular meeting for Tuesday, March 19th, 2024. Under roll call, we have one member, Mayor Gibbons is absent with an excused absent tonight. All of the members are present. Pledge of Allegiance. I'd like to lead you in the Pledge of Allegiance and invocation by Councilmember Espinoza. Please stand. Salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing. Thank you, Lord, for this day that you've given us, Lord. We thank you for the opportunity to come together, Lord, to work for the betterment of the city of Shafter. We ask that you be with each and every one of us here. Guide us with your wisdom, Lord, Father God. We ask these things through your precious Son's name, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Approval of agenda. Do we have any changes, additions?
No changes, Mayor Pro Tem.
Okay, motion to approve.
I'll move.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilmember Alvera and seconded by Councilmember Espinoza to approve the agenda.
Councilmember Alvarado,
Yes.
Olvera,
Yes.
Espinoza,
Yes.
and Prout.
Yes. Public comment time. Anyone in the audience care to address the council may come forward at this time? Nothing. Good, welcome. All right, we'll move on to council announcements and reports. Mr. Pete, do you have anything to report?
Yes. On Wednesday, I missed the oath of office for service crew member Bernardo Fernandez. I just wanted to welcome him aboard and say congratulations. I'm joining the city of Shafter. On Thursday night, on the 7th, I attended the Kern Cog annual regional award ceremony. And there's a lot of people there, a lot of information. Special council meeting. I did attend the annual Chamber Awards banquet and the State of the City address. It was a nice evening to see everyone get their awards and to see everyone enjoying themselves. So I appreciated that. And that's all I have.
Okay. Next,
I don't have anything to report.
Gilbert?
No, I did also participate in the current COG honoring Mr. Harmer. And just want to continue saying, thank you for your service, Mr. Harmer, for the years that he's invested in our community to make our community a better place to live. And so we did have a strategic meeting on Saturday, and I just want to say that everything was a good meeting. It was a very exciting meeting. Got some bright things coming our way. And I also participated in the annual chamber dinner on the 14th of March. And again, I want to congratulate all the ones who were nominated and who received an award. And that's it.
Very good. Yeah, I'd like to share a couple things. I did attend the oath of office for Bernardo Fernandez, who is our service crew fellow. He's joining a crew out here with our public works and will be a good addition for that. Also, we had opportunity invited to attend Read Across America. And so I attended all 4 schools in our area, 3 at Richland, 1 at Grow, and had opportunity to read to small groups, and you share a little bit about yourself and your position, and then engage in their conversation with a book that I've taken along. It was very rewarding for them and for me, I felt. Also, the Kern Cog Regional Awards recognizes people throughout the county, and Shafter usually shines with some projects or some individuals. Our person this year was Kevin Harmon, who has done our city engineer work and really stands out for long-serving as well as an excellent city engineer. So once again, Kevin, there are no more parties, right? We've done enough. Yeah, that's right. We did appreciate his service. Also, I met with the students that came at our last meeting from Cal State. who are working on their master's project in Dolores Five Code, as well as two of the other students that were there. And they're really zeroing in on education, and I referred them to our learning center to really come and see what you have. They're interested, and their goal is to pursue social services with our young people in the county. Also, I attended a task force meeting. A task force meeting meets usually once a month here in Shafter, and we share with each other what's going on. And I did share with them our community projects that we're doing with parks and just skate parks and just everything that's happening in our city. And they share with us as to what they're doing, whether it's in sports or any other activities. It's a small group of people, but their concentration right now is recycling of food from the cafeterias, and that program is picking up too. It's just a problem making sure you have enough storage with the fresh fruit coming in, as well as disposing what has to go out. Let me see, what was the other one I had? We had a colors wrap-up meeting last Thursday, just trying to evaluate as their startup after so many years down. And they really, the program itself and the participation was not what they expected, but I think it was good enough to say that, yes, we can still do it, and it start to expand more because there weren't as many activities, and just expand out and pick up some of the other cultural events that we have that pertain to music and art. And also, yesterday we had the oath of office for a young man who is going to be our public works inspector, and his name is Roel Valle.
Yeah.
Yeah. A local guy, and I guess we brought him in here from city of Bakersfield, so he has some good background, and we're happy to welcome him too. That's all I had. Okay, we'll move on. Consent calendar. On the consent calendar, we have 10 items. First item is to approve the general checks. Number 2 is to approve the payroll for March the 8th. Number 3 is a special event permit for the Catholic Church on April the 7th. Number 4 is to accept the treasurer's report of February 2024. Number 5 is the authorization for the approval of the 2024 update to the City of Shafter sewer system management plan. Number 6 is to accept the proposals received for the Shafter Library and Learning Center pergola shade structure, and authorize Public Works to issue a notice of award and goes to SL Payne Construction not to exceed $20,000. Number 7 is to approve the salvage of 2 Shafter Police Department patrol vehicles due to excessive mileage and maintenance costs and low value of vehicles. Number 8, is to approve an agreement for the completion of public improvements with Lennar for track 7388 phase 2, and authorize city manager to execute this agreement. Number 9 is to approve the final map for track 7388 for phase 2. Number 10 is the council adopt resolution number 2957, which is accepting the 2023 housing element annual progress report. We direct staff to submit this report to the State Office of Planning and Research, State Department of Housing, Community Development, and Current Cog. That's all I have on consent calendar. Any questions, comments?
Do you have a question on number 6? I don't know if we need to pull that or just let, okay, can we pull number 6?
Okay, we'll pull that one. Anything else? Okay, we need a motion then to approve all 10 with the exception of 6.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilmember Alvarado, seconded by Councilmember Espinoza to approve 1 through 10 with excluding number 6. Roll call?
Councilmember Alvarado,
Yes.
Olvera,
Yes.
Espinoza,
Yes.
and Prout.
Yes. Okay, number 6.
Yeah,
Comments?
I noticed that there was 3 bids. One bid that was SNL Payne, and the other 2, his bid was like 17, just under 20,000, and the other 2 were close to 40,000. And they were both the other 2 are close to each other, and this is the whole $20,000 less. I don't know,
Any
the
comment?
discrepancy of 20,000 from two others. So it's a big spread.
I'll defer to our Public Works Director, Mike James, but it's not uncommon for that to happen. We've
Okay.
had other.
My
bids like
concern
that in
is
the
just,
past.
I don't want anything to be taken out. I mean, I don't want to hear later, hey, we need to add this, we need to add that, then all of a sudden it comes up to 40,000 time down the road. So that's where my concern.
Well, Councilmember Alvarado, sometimes it's just a matter of timing and resources. And SL Payne's local, and JTS and DL Brown. Sometimes I feel like this type of construction might be a little small scale for them. And they might need, in order for them to be motivated to do the job, it might have to cost a little bit more. I haven't compared the bids with but I know the deputy director has, and I think we've and SL Payne's had some recent experience with I believe the pistol range project, and so we feel like that they're
Qualified.
capable and
Mhm.
they're doing the project, and I think they've been deemed responsive with their bid.
I have heard of that theory in the sense where outsiders or contractors don't really want to do the job and they bid it high. I do understand that, but it was just in the case that there's two of them doing the same thing and only one. So 20,000 is 20,000. And I was just more concerned not to find out later on. We need to add some more. And then before know it, the whole project comes out to close to that amount. So,
Well, for now, we're capped at 20.
okay.
With the recommendation, and if we feel like that there was something that was missing or is warranted, then we'd have to come back to you.
Okay. All right. Then hope not.
Mhm.
Okay.
We'll be mindful of that. I think that's what I'm understanding from you.
Okay.
For any
thank you.
change orders.
Mhm. You have a motion?
I'll make the motion to accept. 6.
One second.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilmember Alvarado, seconded by Councilmember Alvera. Roll call.
Councilmember Alvarado,
Yes.
Rivera,
Yes.
Espinoza,
Yes.
and Prout.
Yes. Okay, we'll move on to management reports. The first item is the adoption of urgency ordinance number 7953, approving and adopting execution of Fifth Amendment to the development agreement with Suburban Land Reserve, Seventh Standard Investors, and Lenore Homes of California.
Sorry, Mayor and Council, just by in the interest of time, the next two staff reports for items 1 and 2 will be made by Steve Eselman, our planning manager. Steve?
Yes, Honorable Council, you've seen this, this kind of a amendment before, actually 4 times.
Mhm.
This is an extension essentially of the time frame for the expiration of the development agreement for the Mission Lakes specific plan area. The reason why we're asking for a 5th extension is we were waiting for the Nexus study to get concluded so that we'd have more clarity on where to go with fees that would be put into this new development agreement that we're working on. That Nexus study has occurred, and we do have that clarity. However, we are now running up on the deadline for the expiration of the development agreement. So we are requesting a 5th amendment to extend it just another 6 months until October 22nd. I am very confident that we can get the development agreement nailed down and there would not have to be a 6th amendment
Mhm.
to this development agreement. And with that, I will be happy to entertain any questions you may have.
Council have any questions? No.
I don't.
Very good. What's your pleasure?
Like that motion?
Okay, we have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion to adopt the urgency ordinance 753.
Councilmember Alvarado,
Yes.
Olvera,
Yes.
Espinoza,
Yes.
and Prout.
Yes. Okay, you ready for the next item? Number
Uh,
2 is the award of professional services agreement to PlaceWorks for a not to exceed amount of $1,499,661 to prepare the City of Shafter General Plan Update, Development Regulations Update, and Programmatic Environmental Impact Report.
Yes, Honorable Council, this, we talked about this previously in the last month as an informational item. Again, the city solicited proposals for a general plan update, development regulations update, as well as a programmatic environmental impact report. And we, a qualified group of senior members of Shafter staff reviewed 3 proposals and picked PlaceWorks as the most responsive. And with that, we have now brought forward a professional services agreement to get PlaceWorks under contract over a 2-year time frame for about $1.5 million to prepare those documents and to reimagine the vision and the future of the city of Shafter here for the next 20 to 30 years, depending on how far of a horizon we want to go to. With that, I'm happy to answer any questions. And we actually have a few representatives from PlaceWorks in the audience here tonight.
Welcome.
They're also available to answer any questions that you may have. And with that, I'll just I'll bring it back to the council.
Anyone have any questions? We welcome you and have lots of fun with it too. Okay, if there's no other questions, then we need to entertain a motion.
I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilmember Alvarado, seconded by Councilmember Espinoza to award the PlaceWorks for our general plan update. Roll call?
Yeah.
Alvira?
Mhm.
Yes.
Councilmember Alvarado?
Yes.
Did I say Alvarado? I'm sorry.
Yes.
Olvera? Espinoza?
Yes.
And Prout?
Yes. Okay, we have city manager comments and reports.
Mayor Pro Tem, there's a
Mhm.
third management report on the proposed policy.
Okay. Move right into department directors.
Number 3.
We have one more management report, discussion and draft
Oh
proposal.
dear, I'm using the old one then. Okay, wait a minute. That's a special meeting. All right. I'm sorry. Discussion of draft proposed generative artificial intelligence use policy. See, and I had it under reports. Okay.
Mayor Pro Tem, Mayor and Council, apologies on that. We learned from the last time that we brought an item like this for discussion and direction, and we ended up being more engaged. And from previous direction by the city attorney, we were advised to move it up into the management report section
Okay, thank
upon their review. Mayor and Council, as you know, you may have heard, read, seen the use of artificial intelligence. What we're talking about is not little robots, but more so the use of artificial intelligence for the administrative function of the jobs that we do. So we felt that if we're going to begin to integrate that function of artificial intelligence and the work product that we generate as staff in our staff reports, research, analysis, that it'd be prudent for us to have a policy on the use of how we utilize artificial intelligence for that purpose. Some of that information that's generated is accurate based on actual research that is in this database that's out in this cyberspace, but also it's prudent to fact check any material information that is generated by the utilization of AI. And so what the policy does is give us parameters on how to best utilize that in the workplace. So what we have today is our Education Partnership Director, David Franz, who will walk you through the policy and then also do a live demo of what it is we're talking about in terms of the utilization of AI in the workplace. So with that, David.
All right. Thank you, City Manager. Honorable Mayor Pro Tem, members of the City Council. This policy on generative artificial intelligence is an effort to guide usage of this new kind of software. And that's probably the best way to think of it, as generative AI is a new kind of software. And what makes it, it's a kind of software that's very powerful. It's got potential to really transform the way we work, not only in government, but across the economy. It's also very strange and has strange risks associated with it. And so that's why this policy is important. And in order to rather than trying to describe that, I thought I would show you some examples of use cases to illustrate both the potential and sort of some of the risks. So the first use case is something that we're not actually using it for, but we're exploring. So at the Learning Center, we have a lot of images that we create. And this is an example of our course catalog. And all of these images are courses that folks can sign up for. And you notice they're very informative. They have all of the information about the class, but they're also very similar. And it would be cool to be able to have a unique image for each of the 20 or 30 classes that we have. But we don't have staff time to do that, or to do that in a way that would be consistent across all of the images, that would look and feel similar, but would also be unique to the class and the age level. So this is the kind of thing that generative AI can do. So this is something I did a little earlier because the images can take a little while. So I wanted to just kind of show you. So what I did was I dropped a copy of the course description into this platform called ChatGPT, which is a kind of generative AI, and asked it to generate a thumbnail image for a class for a website. And I asked it should be colorful and fun, simple and recognizable, no people, something like an icon for an app. So it worked on it for a couple of seconds, and it came up with this image, which, is colorful and looks fun. You'll notice if you look closely, there are some things about it that aren't quite right, though. And we'll come back to that. But I said, it's too much detail, make it simpler. So then it worked on it for a little while, and it came back with this more simple icon-like image. And again, you'll notice the class was for students 4.5 to 6 years old, and it got 4 point, and then it dropped the 4.5. It's not there. So that's an example of one of the challenges of this, is it doesn't always get things exactly right. So it's very powerful. It's kind of inspiring on what's possible, but it's not always completely right. This is an example of something that is actually limited by the policy. So then I said, make it like in the style of Cat in the Hat. So in the policy, we have restrictions on using examples of copyrighted material because of the potential risk of violating copyright and being sued. But it's something that it can do. And that's why it's important to kind of have those guardrails. And then I just asked it to make it in the style of Vincent van Gogh's Sunflowers. And so you can kind of see the range of what's possible. It's quite powerful. So this is something that we're looking at. I think it's getting better all the time, and in a few years, maybe this will be something that we use it for. Let me give you another demo that's actually a little closer to real life use for us. This is a training tool that we've developed, basically taking all of our training materials at the Learning Center, our policy manual, which is 60 pages long, all of the policies that you've approved for the library and the Learning Center, as well as some training materials and scenarios that we've worked on with staff. And we uploaded that into the system and gave it instructions to create scenarios to help train our staff. And so you can see it's got scenarios. We can choose to do a scenario with the library, or we can choose to do a scenario with the Learning Center. Which would be your preference?
You're asking us?
I'm asking you.
Let's do the Learning Center.
Okay, so the Learning Center. Now, this is an issue with classes, parents, or the computer.
So do you talk to it or do you type it in?
So in that
Both?
one, it had a you could type in a question, but it had a kind of preloaded question of, give me a scenario related to classes, computers, in the Learning Center. Okay, so this is saying it's a scenario. It's quite detailed. So you're a team member working in the afternoon when a new educational program for middle schoolers is taking place. A parent accompanied by their child is participating in the program, decides to use one of the public computers. As the class session progresses, the parent becomes increasingly loud during a video call, distracting the class and other Learning Center guests. Now, for context, one of the reasons why this is important for us is so much of the training that we do is just giving our staff scenarios. There's a lot of things they can't really prepare for. And so having that practice of scenarios is really valuable, but it's difficult to do. So the situation unfolds. The teacher of the class is trying to maintain a conducive learning environment, signals you to address the situation. So you're at the front desk, there's a parent on a video call distracting the students. And then the question raises questions. How would you initiate conversation with the parent to address the disruption while ensuring a positive experience at the Learning Center? Considering the commitment to accessibility and community service, how would you balance enforcing the rules with providing a welcoming environment for the guest? And let's just say, as a new staff member, I have no idea. So it's assuring us it's okay to be unsure first. And then it gives some guidelines: approach with understanding, offer alternatives, and highlight policies, remembering, to follow the rules that we've set. So, this is something that we do in our Saturday trainings, where we'll, every few months, we'll gather everybody together and we'll do some play acting and kind of practice applying the policies that we have. This is a way potentially for us to do that without having to come in on a weekend where folks can do practice on their own. And finally, this is one that's a little more universal to all of our staff. One of the ways that can use this tool is to prepare for presentations like this one. So what I did was I took the staff report and uploaded it into ChatGPT. That's the PDF you see at the top. And I said, what are the kinds of questions that council might have about this policy in the staff report, so that I'm not coming in here cold and I'd feel more prepared. And so it suggests the kinds of questions that you might ask about the scope of the policy, what's the purpose, are other cities using this, and so on. And, what are the problems this is trying to solve, so on. So we can, if you have other ideas of things you'd like to ask, think about them, and I can put them in. But if not, I can move forward with the explanation of the policy and kind of what the guidelines are.
So we're asking if you want to run some scenarios real quick.
So, David, you're going to use this at the library and the Learning Center, but I mean, is it going to be accessible to everybody in the city, the departments, or?
So sure, yeah. So this policy, I use some examples that are close to my own work, but this is really a policy that's should guide all city staff, and it's something that's going to evolve. But the idea is to set some guardrails around it. So you can't just use anything without your supervisor knowing, for example. You can't enter confidential information because it's possible that information could be accessed in some way. You can't use you can't use the system. You can't ask for copyrighted materials. You need to disclose when you are using AI generated responses without editing them. And fact checking them. Those are kind of the main elements of the policy. And that applies to, I mean, you can imagine this is software that could be used really across the city in lots of cases.
And Councilmember Espinoza, Mayor and Council, the intent is that other departments are already using it. As David said, this is examples for the Learning Center, but Our engineering staff is using it. I mean, if we wanted to develop how to develop a drone program policy, I mean, it would generate something like that. So the intent is for all city departments to use it citywide. It's a tool. It's available, as you saw. It's very robust and streamlined. Instead of having to brainstorm or anything like that, you just tell it the question, what you're looking for, and it spits out and at least gives you a framework. Sometimes when you got writer's block, it'll at least give you that initial framework to get you going, streamline the workload. But as David said, we want to make sure that we're not infringing on copyright material, trademark information, and that we fact checked a lot of that as well. So
Are there examples from other places that we could do for the policy?
So, yeah, so this policy was developed out of examples from other cities, and then it was, of course, run through the legal, our lawyers
Mhm.
helped craft it. So yes, this
Because
is,
it is still pretty new.
it's
Mhm.
new. There's a lot of, when I asked Marco about it, he said, get in line. That's basically, there's all of the cities that they work with have been asking for something like this, so.
Is this something that we have to worry about getting hacked with all the city information, everything in there? So we gotta make up firewalls or whatever, and I have no idea what
No,
I'm
that's
talking
that's a
about.
great question. That's a great question. Yes, we should worry about that. And it can happen in different ways. So for example, if the way these programs work, and you're bumping up against the limits of my understanding as well. So,
Mhm.
but the way they work is they go out and they read a whole bunch of information. And potentially they're reading the information and including the information that we enter. And so if we were to enter information that shouldn't be out in public, it's possible that it could get out in public.
Hmm.
When somebody does they do the right inquiry, they're asking for something about the city of Shafter, and all of a sudden, if we were entering people's home addresses and social security numbers, they could get out.
Hmm.
That is why, so the policy says anything that is not supposed to be public, that you wouldn't put on the website, shouldn't be entered into the system. And so, for example, like the things that I was entering were things that were either approved by council or things that we're using in training that are not confidential, that are fine being public.
Mhm.
But to kind of give you an example, Councilmember Espinoza, my program, it'd be like asking for a sample policy versus, someone on the labor negotiating team saying, hey, uploading the proposal and saying, draft me a counter proposal, for the attached, union proposal, right? Those are confidential during the negotiation process. So if we did something like that, then that potentially now is out there in cyber. Right. So it's about being mindful. In some instances, as David said, he uploaded a staff report and then generated some questions. It could also do that if we on the negotiating team said, hey, uploaded the proposal and then said, give me some counter proposal terms. They could also do that, but then that now is out there. So that's an example of how we could get ourselves in trouble.
Is the policy only apply to the staff? What about like students and people who are utilizing the learning center for that?
That is a good question.
Mhm.
That's one that it didn't suggest to me.
Yeah, I think the intent,
See what it says, yeah.
Councilmember Olvera, Mayor and Council, I think again, the intent is for city staff.
For city staff.
If someone went to the learning center, used one of the Chromebooks over there and got on because Chat GPT is free.
Right.
You just input your email address, create an account, and you can use it. You can download it on your phone, your iPad, whatever it may be. So that if someone used it, and it's their own material, I mean, we can't do anything about it. But the intent of the policy is to be applicable for city staff. So that we know what the boundaries are for what we can and can't use it. And then one of the things that we move forward with that is in the future, our staff reports may have a disclaimer on the bottom that, some of the content, if you read online newspapers or articles, oftentimes if there was AI involved in creating that content, they'll have a disclaimer that the content in the article used artificial intelligence and kind of letting the reader know maybe don't believe everything you read because some of it was AI generated. So if it's moved forward with it, we may need to put a disclaimer on our staff reports just to say, hey, some of the content may have been generated utilizing artificial intelligence.
So we've already started it up to some degree, and we can still continue to track it or watch what it's doing, and if we can always pull out of it. I mean, it's nothing that's binding, so. Yeah,
Well, the policy can always be modified, right?
right.
I think it's the utilization is going to continue to evolve.
Mhm.
And like any best practice, as we learn certain things or it's challenged legally or otherwise,
Yeah.
then, we'll adjust our policy accordingly in that regard. But, yeah.
So, okay, I got a question. The parameters that are gonna be set, who's gonna be monitoring that it's not being misused or used inappropriately?
I mean, it's
How would
good.
how would that come up as a red flag? So we know that, well, this was done on this date by this person and they shouldn't have been doing that.
So the policy states that you need to get clearance from your supervisor to use these tools. And presumably the monitoring would happen just in the way that any city activity is monitored. If you're doing something that's outside of the rules, your supervisor should be monitoring that.
Okay, okay. It sounds very interesting, but it also sounds a little scary too.
Right.
Yeah, so I mean, if we were to go down this path and everything, we just need to have as many, safeguards as necessary to make sure that it's being used properly. Because, you just don't want something like that to flare up, especially when it's something that could be very, very useful.
Well, and as the city manager said, in not in so many words, but the genie is out of the bottle.
Yeah.
That it's being used all over. It's being used in schools, and this is really an attempt to put those parameters around it.
Okay,
You want to review the policy real quick? Review the policy.
Or you want to do it now?
Oh, yes. Okay, sure. Sorry. So we've sort of covered some of the key components, but I wanted to just highlight, so the key risks that we're trying to address are content ownership uncertainty. So that, for example, that cat in the hat example, making sure that we're not violating copyright. A lot of this area is really murky in terms of the law. Also just making sure that we're not plagiarizing people, even if it's not a violation of copyright exactly. But then there are security and privacy concerns, making sure that private information doesn't get out. And then inaccuracies. These are kind of the main concerns, making sure that things that are not factual are not coming into our staff reports, for example. So the policy provisions are that there is no sharing of sensitive information. So anything that's private or would not be appropriate for sharing on our website should not be entered into these systems. Mandatory fact checking of AI outputs. So staff, when we're writing staff reports, it's incumbent on us to make sure that the facts that are in the report are correct, regardless of how, whether AI was used. And then disclosure of AI use. So as the city manager said, transparency statement, just acknowledging where AI was used in drafting or creating images. This was reviewed by legal and risk management, and that's really I think that summarizes the document. So it's an attempt to balance the potential and the opportunity with the risks and exercising appropriate caution.
I can just see a general plan. I mean, just start telling her, are you using it already? Experience?
Internal committee where we're looking at all of the various issues you're looking at and making sure that not.
That's right.
Some people are saying, oh, you can choose read ours, like,
Mm.
I don't know how to read it.
Yeah. It is scary when you think about it, and it may prove that we don't want to do it. I mean, not just me or here, but I think worldwide, we might even see that same effect.
Mid-letter was generated.
Ah,
You won, congratulations. Created it.
no, no, I knew you were joking. Oh, dear. Well, it's a learning curve every day, isn't it? All right.
So, Mayor and Council, it was a informational item. If you had no objectives to it, we will proceed with bringing it back for adoption, so that we get your blessing with it.
It's good.
Last one question then.
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions now?
No. Good.
Thank you, sir. Okay, if we don't see and hear any other comments, then we can entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll move.
A second.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion to adjourn and it is 6:41. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.